Hello, my beautiful people. Welcome to your life path for 2021 readings. So, before we go into it, a few words about the year, or should I say, about the energy of the year 2021. So, many of you will remember that when we got into 2020, I did a video for the year ahead, and I remember saying specifically to everybody, it was going to be challenging, it was going to be tough. There were probably going to be things that we weren't ready for, that we hadn't foreseen, so to speak, and here we are on the other end of it. So I want to put this little blurb at the beginning of each one of these videos, just to give you kind of an idea of the year 5, right? So when you consider that each number vibration is kind of like a response or a differentiation or a divergence away from the predecessor's energy. The 4 year was about restriction, limitation, challenge. It was about repetition. It was about sticking with things. It was about working through things. It was about, the 4 energy, the 2020 is a 4 year, is about, the foundations. It's about the things that are rigid. A box can either be used as a step to take you to the next level, or it can be used as a prison, right? It can, it has both functions. So on the other side of that, we've got 2021, which is a 5 year. The number 5 is about freedom, liberation, energy, being dynamic. It's about passion. It's about vibrancy. It's about the sensual and the sexual. The 5 year is often, in terms of the personal year 5, it's often been called the sex, drugs and rock and roll year. Now, obviously, I'm not, condoning the drugs part. I'm just, if that's your thing, if that's what floats your boat, then please feel free. What I'm saying to you is this energy is vastly different to the year before. Now, what does that mean? It means that you may very well want and need more travel, more adventure, more sex, more sensual pleasures in your life. You may want to try new things. You may be stepping out of the box, and we're going to see this across the board. Now, remember, 2021, it's the year for everybody, right? So regardless of what your life path number is, regardless of what your personal year number is, the energy of the year itself is the number 5. So what are the things that we're likely to encounter there? What's the big word, the one word that sums up the 5 energy is change. It is the energy of change, the energy of difference, the energy of liberation and freedom, as I mentioned. Now, things that we might need to be aware of. Currently, 2020 took away a lot of our freedoms. 2020 took us to places where we were locked down. It took us into this idea that we're not in control, that we're not in charge. That 4 was no longer a step. It became a prison at certain points. Granted, most of us were locked in our homes rather than like actual prisons, but you see the point that I'm making with that kind of energy. The 5 energy wants change, freedom, liberation. It breaks out of that box and says, this is who I am. This is where I'm going. This is what I want. I want to enjoy. I want to indulge in the world, right? I want difference. I don't want the same. I want everything and anything that is new, that is innovative. These are all wonderful energies, but what does that look like on the wider world stage? Everybody in some way, shape or form is going to want freedom and liberation. And if a lot of the things that were put in place in terms of our freedoms being taken away, in terms of, being told what we can and can't do, this is where 2020 could become quite a rocky year, because what you're going to see is the kickback. These things were put in place to keep us all safe. These things were put in place to keep us all well looked after. These things were put in place to flatten curves, to make sure that we were all in a good stead, for sure. I get that, but on the other side of it, how much is that going to be repealed? How much is it going to be peeled back? So the big question that now comes up is 2021. Freedom, liberation, innovation. We could be seeing new technologies, new ways of doing things. We could see brand new, like really advanced healing methods, ways of growing food, creating food. We could see a lot of this. We could see a lot of connection. We could see a big expansion of the understanding of not only connections between people, but also this idea of what it means to be governed from the top and what it means to be self-governing. We could see a lot of that, and the kickback may very well be that, you know, it starts to become a bit of an us and them. You know, you don't control us. We can make our own decisions. We can make our own choices. And the thing is, 9 out of 10 people, if they're left to self-govern, they tend to choose the right thing to do. You know, not because it's the right thing to do, but because everybody at base level is tapped into their own humanity. You know, you wouldn't necessarily go out of your way to hurt another person, you know, unless obviously there's things going on within you. Anyway, that's for another video and another debate. So what you're very likely to see over the course of 2021 is people looking to break out of the specific norms that have been imposed. You may very well see people wanting to change the rules, people wanting to find new ways of liberating themselves and also the people that they love, but also the masses. So you may very well see this kind of energy take place over then. 5 is a very restless energy. It's a very boisterous energy. It's lusty, sexual, passionate, vibrant. It's a number of the sensual world. So you could see a lot of this over the course of the 2021. You might see a lot of hedonism, whatever that means to you, come out. You might very well see people finding new this is the thing, I've said innovative like 3 times, but I can't stress that enough, because it's new, progressive, vibrant, passionate energy. You may very well see a lot of this. I think we're going to see a real advancement in ways that we can travel as well, because the 5 energy loves travel. It loves anything and anyone different. It loves anything and anyone that is foreign to what they know. People will want to try, more so than ever, people will want to try new foods, new food sources. I feel we're going to see a lot of this as well. Like, we recently had this meat-free burger thing come up. I think we're going to see a lot more developments in the 5 year over that kind of thing. I think we're going to see a lot, like a massive explosion towards health, vitality. I think we're going to see sports, all kinds of things around that. I think we're going to see big changes and big evolutions of. I actually feel like we might go in the direction as well where we're not necessarily looking at sort of like, oh, look at us, we're all focusing on the football league. I feel like it might sort of break apart, and you might see that the local leagues become a lot more important, or become a lot more, a lot more focus and attention is placed on those things that are happening locally, and you might see a lot of growth in those areas. I think there's going to be an explosion of health, fitness sort of stuff, and I don't think it's necessarily going to be because it's like, I need to get healthy, I need to look good. It's more going to be a case of, this is enjoyable, and if we can do it together, it's even more fun. So that looks like it's going to be great. But yeah, those are just some a few notes about the 2021 year itself before we go into your life path, your personal life path reading. So there is a link in the description box below. If you don't know your life path number, you will be able to find it. You'll be able to work it out, and trust me, I have dyscalculia, so if I can do it, trust me, you can. All right, just don't overthink it. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Now let's get into your life path reading for 2021. Take care, I'll see you soon. Hello, you beautiful Life Path 9 person. Welcome to your 2021 TarotScope with me, Raphael from Reydiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like, share, and if you should so choose and it resonates, hit that subscribe button. If you are already a continued subby, you know I love you for it. With that said, if you would like to book a personal reading with me, you can do so on the website address below. And before we start, as always, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise, and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So if you have a life path 9, or if you are cross-watching for a life path 9, don't forget to share. This is for you. So what does the year ahead have in store for you? So it's not just a tarot reading. I've looked into your numerology and how that energy interacts with the energy of 2021. 2021 is, as you know by now, a 5-year. So let's look at it. This is what I have called a seesaw energy, right? So it's going to be kind of like that. You know, you're going to be finding your balance, you're going to be finding the pivot, right? And this isn't necessarily a bad thing. It actually kind of puts you in that energy of really being able to find a balance, really being able to move into the energy that you want to. And then when things get a bit too much or they get a bit intense, you'll know which way to go, you know, which direction to move in then. So the characteristics that you can be finding this year are fun, warm, giving, kind, adaptive, a year to find your tribe. This is a great year to connect with people, you know, of all kinds, whether they're younger or older than you. Kind of irrelevant. This is going to be a year that helps you. And life path 9 loves people anyway. You definitely are. You know, like everyone says, like, oh, you know, I'm a people person. When life path 9 says they're a people person, they really do mean it. It doesn't necessarily mean that they like all people, or, you know, sometimes they can struggle with that because they overgive, or they overextend themselves, so to speak. This is a great year for you to connect with people. So the 5-year wants you to learn new ways to connect to people. This is finding new ways to connect with people, finding new ways to enjoy the natural world, maybe animals, maybe you'll get a new pet this year. It's definitely a possibility. This is finding a year for you to find new ways to offer your help and assistance to people. So how can you be of service? What does that actually look like for you? This year you could see yourself redefining what being of service to humanity actually means to you, what that actually looks like, how it feels like you're supposed to show up in the world. All of this stuff can become really, come to the fore this year. It's a year that wants you to learn to find the fun in working, right? So whatever your work is, whatever your job is, and you know, your work and your job could be looking after your family, it could be looking after your elderly parents, it could be looking after, you know, your pets, it could be looking after people's homes, it could be looking after your business. How you show up in work, this is about you finding the fun in that, finding new ways to do things, finding new ways to show up in your professional life, or whatever your tasks, jobs and responsibilities might be. It's a year for you to be kind to others and to yourself. Now, this is finding new ways to be kind to yourself. You know, one friend of mine actually said, you know, she used to think that being kind to herself meant putting a face mask and stuff on, and she discovered it was much deeper than that. That is the kind of thing that you want to be focusing on this year. When you talk about self-care, self-love, all of that sort of stuff, what does it actually look like to you? What does it feel like to you? Finding new ways to do that, finding new ways to be adventurous about how you care for yourself, finding new ways to be adventurous about how you care for other people. When it comes to kindness as well, this is looking at, what kindness actually means to you and what are the ways that you can demonstrate it. It's not always by giving people stuff or, you know, giving them big lavish presents and all the rest of it. That's not where you find it. Sometimes the place that you, or the way that you show someone that they mean the most to you, is how you show up for them in those small, practical, everyday moments. You know, a good example of that is Virgos. Virgos understand, and I've always said this, you know, whether you're a life path 9 and a Virgo, if you are, then I'm talking directly to you, but I'm talking in a very general sense. Virgo as a sign understands how those small moments of showing up for people, those real practical sort of, you know what, I know you're a bit under it at the moment, so I picked up your favourite this and this from the supermarket and I took your bins out this morning. Do you know what I mean? Like those really small ways that make people go like, wow, you noticed that about me? Or do you know what I mean? Like you show up for people. So finding really exciting ways to do that. This could be a year where you assist people from behind the scenes and they might not even know it until the last moment. And then they're like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. Give yourself time yeah, give yourself your time. So you time is going to be really important. Looking after your physical health for everybody features this year, but the ones that it really came up for were the Life Path 1, the Life Path, I think 5 definitely had this energy, Life Path 8 definitely had this energy, 4 and 9. So it's out of all of them, you know, those are the 5 that definitely need to think about their physical health over the course of this year. Create a group of like-minded souls, and this could see you reaching out and connecting to people that you never thought that you would connect to or with. You could be having really amazing conversations with people that you didn't even think you had anything in common with this year. This is a year for you to really discover just how many different people there are out there, and ultimately what kind of problems and assistance you can help each other solve. There's a lot of this kind of energy there for you, this guys, which is great. Open your heart to the universe. This is a year for you to kind of open it up to the heavens and just say, look, you know what, I know that, you know, you guys always have a plan. You know, I don't call it God or the, you know, Buddha, Allah, Chi, you know, Christ, all of that sort of stuff. I just call it the all, because it is made up of everything, you know, the universe, the multiverse, you know, everything that you can imagine is all governed by what, you know, the all, right? And that encompasses everything that could ever be, ever is, and ever will be. Soapbox moment there, shut up, Raph. But this is a year for you to open up your life, your heart to the universe and say, look, you know what, I know what plans I have for myself, but what are the plans that you have for me? Be ready and willing to go into new directions, wherever you get those intuitive pulls, wherever you get those kind of nudges from the universe to say, go there, or do this, or speak to that person, follow it, because the chances are you're getting a message about where the universe wants to take you. And, you know, sometimes when you get out of your own way and allow the path to unfold, it takes you to the most amazing places. It took me a really long time to get that idea into my mind, and once I did, I was like, yeah, this is cool, I can go with this. So release old baggage. This is a year for you to let go of old hurts and let go of old energies, old ideas, old ways of doing things, old outmoded ways of thinking, feeling and believing, and energies that you're holding on to. This is a year where you really can release them, but you can also evolve them. You can also take them, you know, it's almost like you'll be able to separate the good from the, you know, from the well, not the good from the bad, but, you know, the stuff that doesn't serve, like the resentment and the fear and the hatred and the frustration, but you can take the lessons out of it and what it's actually given you, you know, by separating the two and chucking that out. And yeah, this is a year, for the 5 year wants you to learn, for you specifically, if you're a Life Path 9, all of these things that I talk about are for you, but ultimately it wants you to live in the present by releasing the past. Whatever your past is, that's done now. This is a brand new start. This is a new chapter. So the challenges that you might face over the course of this year, every life path number has challenges and blessings that they're going to have this year. So your challenges are very likely to be how to stand back and let others heal themselves. Not necessarily easy for a life path 9, and because of the way that your number interacts with the energy of the year and what it combines to, this could be something that comes up a lot. You may see people this year going through their karma. You might see, and that's not to say that, you know, whatever's happened to them, they deserve it, so you should just let them suffer. It's not that at all. This is about understanding that there is a path and a plan and all the rest of it for everybody, and sometimes the part of the plan that is challenging, that is heartbreaking, that is painful, is the thing that leads you to your greatest blessing. Sometimes if you're going in to help somebody to save them from what they're experiencing, you're actually doing them a disservice in 2 ways. 1, because you don't allow them to experience what they need to grow, and 2, because you're effectively holding them back from their blessing as well, because that's going to follow after they do the changing and the evolving that they need to once they've traversed that experience. So this year you could find that it is a real challenge, but, you know, hold back, and because, you know, by opening yourself to whatever the divine plan is for you, you're going to allow other people to do that as well, and it's going to be beautiful in what it, you know, what it creates for you, what it sort of shows you is going to be nothing short of amazing. All right, how to let people ask for things before you offer them. Now, this one's going to be a real challenge for you guys. I know this is going to be a real challenge for you guys. And it really is. So usually when people want stuff, if they know you well enough, they'll know how to kind of press your buttons or what to say to you to get you to offer stuff. This year, this 2021 year is going to show you where that is the case, and it's also going to have you learning really quickly and in very interesting dynamic ways when to hold back. If somebody doesn't specifically ask you for something, don't offer it. And that might feel sort of like, oh, okay, but that's against my nature. That's part of the challenge of this year. 5 gives you the challenge. It makes you kind of do things in a different way. It takes you out of your comfort zone and says, right, that stuff is no longer working, so we're going in a new direction. That makes you have to kind of stand up, you know, meet the challenge. You know, you just got to kind of say, right, okay, well, if I'm along for this ride, I'm going to have to follow whatever path it brings me. For your next, you know, the other challenges that you'll face: reflecting, then releasing. So you might find that you are drawn to thinking about certain things, or maybe you go down a certain path in your mind. Sometimes it can be hard to, you know, the challenge that you might face is pulling yourself out of it. But it's something that you need to learn to do. And, you know, if you can replace those thoughts with something physical to do something to move that energy, it will pull you out even better. Finding people who offer things in return. This is going to be a year where you discover people that actually want to help you for a change, people that want to help and support you for a change, people that want to give to you as much as they receive from you. This is a year to allow those sorts of relationships and connections to come in for you, and to revel in them, right? At first it might be a little bit uncomfortable. That's why it's a challenge, right? And the final thing that I've put here that is your final challenge. Don't throw anything at the screen. Remember, it's not going to hurt me, but is enjoying the challenges, rising to the challenges. This is going to be one of the challenges that you have. When things come up, you're going the thing that the 5 year is trying to teach you is to enjoy it, to say, right, okay, this is an obstacle, this is a challenge, but what is it teaching me or giving me in the long run? Your blessings for this year: finding exciting ways to connect to people, to the world. You could be very highly attuned to the natural world this year, to animals, to plants, to people, to children especially. You could have that energy lingering around you. A heightened sense of awareness, you know, physically. Your physical body could be, you know, with all of your physical senses could be dialed up this year. Especially like your intuitive energy, like you could be feeling it very sort of viscerally, like in the body. So when you get those gut hunches, when you get, you know, those moments where the hair on the back of your neck stands up, where you get the tingles, as I call them. I love them moments. When I get the tingle, I'm like, yeah, I know I'm onto something here. You know, it means I'm tapping into the right thing. Blessings: a draw toward exciting new directions and people. This is going to be a year that kind of has you, you know, finding new people, finding new groups, finding new tribes, and you are supposed to be connected to all of them. So don't kind of see this as like, oh, well, those people have come in and they've gone again. You know, just imagine yourself as almost like a focal point, kind of like a spider's web. Do you know what I mean? With you in the middle. And then yeah, could be a possible move, and it might be an international move. That's a definite possibility for this year for you guys. A discovery of your next mission or goal, right? That thing that is going to get you out of bed in the morning, that's going to get you fired up. And then finally, your key pieces of advice are: learn to find the thrill in letting go. So every time you evolve beyond something, or you remove or release a certain feeling, experience, some sort of past baggage, it's going to give you like that sort of like, yeah, you know, it's going to get you fired up. Learn to enjoy that thrill. It's going to become like an adrenaline thing to you. You'll just be like, yeah, you know what, the more I do this, the better I get, the better I feel. Learn to let life lead the way. And finally, let people come and go as they do. So whatever comes, let it come. Whatever goes, let it go. Now remember, you're doing this spider web thing, so there'll always be a connection there, and the chances are you're meant to keep that connection. So just consider how to kind of work that into your life. So let's have a look-see at your tarot for the year ahead. So for your January, to set the tone, you have the Wheel of Fortune, luck, abundance, synchronicities. This could be about people, it could be about travel. It does look like a lot of you may very well be traveling straight out of the gate. For a lot of you, I feel the word that I'm hearing is explorative. It looks like whatever travel you're doing in January, it may very well have like a vacation feel to it, but it is very much an exploratory trip. This could be you going to, you know, to scope out some sort of new business. Maybe it's scoping out a new place that you're deciding you want to live. Remember, your first card out kind of sets the tone for the whole year. So this is going to be a really fun and dynamic year, but it's also going to be a year that's full of synchronicities that welcome things into your life. So on that, you have the, wow, yeah. So this is, January is definitely a time where you guys are traveling. You have the Temperance card here, right? And Temperance is all about, it's all about balance, but it's also about alignment. There is a big explorative trip coming up for you in January. Straight out of the gate, you are going somewhere to gather information about a business, about a collaboration maybe, but it could also very likely be, maybe you see somewhere that you've always wanted to live and you're going to check this place out to say, you know what, does that feel like the right space for me? Does it feel like the right place that I'm, that I want to go to? Which is lovely. The other thing with your Temperance card as well, because it represents the things that you are aligned to or the things that you're making space for, this is about some sort of growth or expansion. This could be a growth of your family. So if if it's just you and your partner, maybe you're starting, this idea that you want to start a family is happening here in January. This is about you making space for whatever it is that you want to welcome into your life, but it does look like you are traveling right out of the gate. For February, you have the Hanged Man, right? So February is going to be a slowdown month. It's going to be a month where you are reassessing, reevaluating. I'm actually seeing a lot of you sat down doing sums, doing calculations, working out, do we have the money for this? What's it going to take for us to make this move? And I'm actually seeing a lot of this being specifically for those of you that are partnered. Do we have the money for this move? What are the resources that we're going to need? Are we able to find them? Which is nice. To couple that, you've got the Knight of Pentacles. So this is about you building the plans, doing the calculations, doing the sums. This is you working out what money you're going to need, what finances you're going to need. Whatever it is that you are exploring in January, by the time you get home and you reach February, this is going to be about you really kind of taking stock, and it's going to see you really start to move on these plans. Now, because it comes through the guise of the Knight of Pentacles, remember this is a long-term thing. It's a slow and steady thing. It's not going to be instant. It's just you putting the feelers out and starting to build that. So as an example, let's say, right, okay, so we've decided now that we want to move to, Indonesia. We come home, February, you're going to think, right, what paperwork do I need to make that move? What finances do I need to make that move? Am I going to have a home here and wherever it is that I want to move to? Am I doing that separately? Will I rent that home out while I'm there? Am I going to do 6 months? Like, you're going to be doing all of those big sort of looks into that reassessment, reevaluation. Priorities change as well. Like, whatever you've got going on in January, your priorities are going to shift. So come February, this is going to see you looking at the whole thing. It does look like as well February is going to be a really active month for you guys. So when I say a slowdown, maybe not necessarily traveling so much, but it does look like you're doing some sort of maybe some sort of extreme sport, maybe learning to horse ride, maybe you're doing something with animals. We talked about this, that is making you connect to the world, connect to the land. For a lot of you, this could be literally horse riding, which is, lovely. Excuse me, allergies. So you've got the World card for March. And interestingly enough, it does appear to be this specific line, March, July and November. seem to be the months where big sort of things are taking place. Now, March is going to bring you a change of status. There does appear to be some sort of big shift or big culmination or completion for you in March. And what this tends to look like is a change in status. If you're single, you get partnered. If you're partnered, you become engaged. If you're engaged, you get married. There's some sort of change here. Now, I actually feel like this relates to your work and possibly to your home. To give it some context, we've got the Lovers card. So actually what it relates to is your relationships, right? So there's something about your relationship that evolves over the course of March, which is fantastic. So if you are single, March looks like a month where you are meeting somebody new. For a lot of you, this person is very likely to be older than you. It may very well be somebody that is a Gemini. So they could be older in years, but younger in mind or body, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Your Lovers card there as well, because it represents choice and choosing, right? And it's funny because, you know, I talked about this whole thing with animals and stuff. It does look like March is a month where you really are choosing to grow. You're choosing to evolve in some way. For those of you that are partnered, you will be taking things to the next level. March is very much a time where some of you, it looks like you are giving birth, but others, or having the baby, but others, if you are hoping to start a family or planning to start a family, March looks like a very fertile month for you. This looks like where, you know, you really have that energy that's surrounding you, which is nice, really nice. April, you have the Judgment card, right? So it looks like some sort of a blast from the past. Something is coming back into your life. But I always see this card as a card of, it's kind of like you're considering something from the past, or someone from the past comes up from the, you know, maybe out of the woodwork. Sometimes it happens to all of us. And when this card shows up, it's kind of like a heads up to say there is something or someone coming back into your life. Now, it's very rare that these connections are meant to be reforged. Usually it's just so that you can look at it, so that you can say, right, what didn't work? Why is that not, you know, the path that I choose to be on anymore? Or why is this person no longer resonating? You assimilate that, you know, those facts, and then you just, and then you just let it go. So something to consider. To give it some context, you've got the Fool card, right? So yeah, I mean, this is going to come as a complete surprise. I have to say this, for those of you that do get into a new relationship, or maybe you announce an engagement or a marriage here in March, come April, once the word has spread, I would be very, just be prepared that you may hear from an ex that kind of comes in and says, look, you know what, I know you're about to start a family, or I know you're about to get engaged or married, but I can't stop thinking about you. You know, I love you. I'm kind of in that. Now, you guys know me. I don't really talk about stuff like this very often, but when it comes up, it comes up. And I feel like this is some sort of old partner, some sort of ex that is coming up in April in response to finding out that you are no longer available or on the market, so to speak. On another level, your Judgment card is about big changes, and so is the Fool card. New things, new places, new people, right? And this is why I say, for a lot of you, April looks like it is bringing in that new tribe, bringing in those new people. It does look like there's a big, profound change or shift that's coming up for you guys in April, but it kind of has that other energy to it as well. So let's have a look, see what else comes up for you. In May, you have the High Priestess. So pay attention to your intuition, your dreams, your feelings. This could be a month where you are choosing to pay more attention to your intuition, or maybe even find some sort of intuitive training. It's definitely a possibility. The other thing with the High Priestess, remember, she is always hidden things revealed. Sometimes it's secrets, sometimes it's, you know, someone telling you a secret, sometimes you telling somebody a secret. And it comes with the Queen of Cups. So this person is very likely to be a Cancer, High Priestess plus Queen of Cups, Cancerian. Now, your Queen of Cups, usually a water sign, you know, water sign person. So Pisces, Cancer or Scorpio. Falls with the High Priestess. Whoever this person is, it's a Cancerian. And I have to say, because it follows the Fool, although it's not on the Fool or has the Fool energy here, I feel like this is somebody that you don't necessarily know. Now, for a select few of you, this could be somebody that kind of comes out the woodwork. Maybe it's, for those of you that start to date somebody, this could be their ex coming back into the picture. Looks like a bit of a drama going on with your relationships over the course of next year. Sorry to say, but it does look like there is a little bit of it going on. Now, March and May, both very fertile times for you. So if you're looking to conceive, those are the months that you've kind of got for it. With your Queen of Cups though, yeah, it does look like somebody's coming forward to share something with you. It's very likely to be a Cancerian woman. It may even be your own parent. It might be your own mother. Or it may very well be that May is when you become a wife, or a husband, whatever you choose to be. Or whatever you are. It doesn't necessarily have to be that you're a woman watching this, or you get my point. I'm just waffling. All right, so June, you have the Fool card again, right? So you've got a double hit of this Fool card energy. So new things, new places, new people, new energy for sure. But remember, the Fool card is always pure potential, right? So it tends to bring you things that you, maybe at the time you overlook it. It doesn't even seem like it's relevant, or it doesn't seem like it's important at the time. But then bam, 2-3 days later, you're like, oh my gosh, that was really profound. To couple or to add to that, you've got the Five of Cups. Now, I'm sorry to say, but June does look like something is coming to an end for you. Five of Cups is always about loss. It's about an ending of some sort. This is like the feeling that you have when you're mourning something, when you've lost someone, it can sometimes be about grief, but it is very much a loss or an ending. And because it falls with the Fool card, you probably won't see this coming. It's just going to be something that kind of spontaneously shows up. It might be that someone is leaving your life, but it could just as easily be that somebody is transitioning out of the mortal coil. So I'm sorry to be the bearer of such news, but June looks like it could be your most challenging month, to be honest with you. Yeah, interestingly enough, April, now that I look at it in context with those, April could see somebody that you love, like an elderly somebody, so like a grandparent or maybe a parent. Maybe they're getting a diagnosis of some sort that, seems a bit like, a bit much to deal with. Just something to consider, I really hope I'm wrong. July, we've got the Tower card. Now, as I said to you at the beginning, this middle row here, this row here, March, July and November, seem to be the months that are pertaining to what's happening on the wider world stage. And I'm really intrigued by this because at this point I've basically finished recording this series. So as I've built up a picture of the larger picture, it does feel like something big is happening on the wider world stage, especially in July and November. Now the July one, I actually feel like it's going to be maybe some sort of fight breaks out, maybe some sort of protesting, possibly some sort of war. I really do feel like we're going to see this on a bigger sort of scale, and it comes with the Page of Cups. So this could be protests for sure. We could see a lot of that. It could be that people, humanity in general, are starting to react against some of what's taken place. And it's interesting because 2020 saw us having to surrender some of our freedoms, and I don't feel like all of those I don't feel like all of the sanctions that have been put in place are going to be repealed. And I think when that is kind of brought to light, possibly in July, we could see a lot of clashes when it comes to that kind of thing. But it does look like something's happening there. Now, because it comes through the guise of the Page of Cups, this could very well have something to do with children. I did see that as well. At some point there was like talks of, I can't remember what video it was in, what life path it was for, but there was almost like a sanction placed on how many children people can have, or if they're not going to be, just it's a possibility. But July does look like a challenging month for you on a personal level, life path 9 person. Your Tower card is a change, or it's something different, coupled with the Page of Cups. Now, this could be that, again, surprise pregnancy. For some of you, this might even be somebody that maybe doesn't necessarily carry the pregnancy to term. You could be having a premature birth is possible here. On a personal level. If none of that sort of applies to you and you're not thinking about having kids or whatever, this does look like some sort of big realization about, maybe some sort of big realization intuitively comes through for you, but also it could be that you are maybe you're deciding to do something of a creative nature that is quite shocking. Maybe you're writing a book or a memoir of some sort, or maybe you're creating some sort of artwork, or anything. You could be creating something that is kind of, has people clutching for their pearls. August, you have the Hierophant card. Okay, so, this is aligning with institutions, powerful people. Sometimes it's government, sometimes it's the legislation that's put down by the government. To give it some context, this is the Two of Cups. So August sees you aligning with a very powerful person. This is what I like to call a mover and a shaker. For a lot of you, August looks like a time, whatever commitment you're setting here in March, it does look like August, a lot of you are following through on it. This looks like where you are committing to somebody on a really deep level. So whether you're single or partnered, there's something about your relationship that is solidified in August. There's something about it that really comes together. I'm really surprised by this because there's a lot of relationship stuff come through for the Life Path 9. It's good. I mean, there's tons of readers out there that do just that kind of thing, but I'm surprised that there's a lot that's come through about this. But yeah, August could also be a time where you are aligning with an institution. Maybe you are speaking publicly. Maybe somebody, maybe somebody offers you a position. Maybe somebody offers you, a good amount of money, or to say to you, look, we want to work with you. If you work for yourself, August is going to be a great month because it looks like you're being tapped on the shoulder, as they say. If you work for an employer, this could be where you are rising up through the ranks, which is again even really, really nice. Again, now interestingly enough, I only see travel really happening for you in January. And maybe that's because whatever's happening in January is going to set you in motion for this big move that appears to be coming up. So September, you have movement. So you're traveling in January, you're traveling in September. September looks like an amazing culmination of something that you've put a lot of time, effort and heart and soul into. Coming off the back of that in August, whatever it is that you're committing to. So once the wedding ends, the honeymoon begins, so to speak, in a fashion. Then on top of that, you've got the Four of Cups. September looks like a really good month for you, and it does look like there is movement. It does look like there is travel, but it kind of feels like some of you aren't necessarily in the, maybe things aren't moving as fast as you would like them to. So there could be some sort of frustration there, or like a feeling of driving with the brakes on, as I call it. Now, another thing that I want to say to you is, for a select few of you, April and August suggest that maybe you are building a home. Not necessarily buying a new home, but maybe you are building one, and September could be where things like that are beginning. But again, it looks like there's some sort of a delay that's taking place. It won't be long. It will come to a completion in September, but it does look like there are hold-ups, there's delays, there's a lack of movement, and certainly not the speed of movement that you would like to see. For October, you have the Sun card. Love it, right? So blessings, abundance, happiness. I can't remember who it was that was the first one to get the Sun card, but yeah, this is great. October looks like a beautiful month for you. Blessings, abundance, joy. Now remember, the Sun card adds light, heat, strength and power, to anything that it touches. So it enhances all of your blessings and it diminishes all of your challenges. And with that, you've got the Standing Stone, or the Justice card, right? So October looks like a month where you are signing a contract or getting some sort of completion or culmination that you're really happy about. But it does look like you are signing something that is going to set you up for a long time. So this could be something of a financial nature. Maybe it's where you finally complete your home if you are building one, and it looks like some of you will be this year, which I'm really, really excited about. I'm really intrigued to see when the comments start flowing to, who's on that journey or that path. But yeah, October looks like a really great month for you, but it is where you're committing, where you're signing on the dotted line. So things that you need to know about this year, there's going to be a lot of stuff coming up with relationships, with partnerships for sure. It does look like there's a lot going on with contracts, signing of documents, finding new places to be or new places to live. And it looks like, even though they're not coming up specifically, there's a lot to do with other people in this spread. November, you have the Justice card. Double hit of justice energy there, right? And your Justice card is about the legalities. I actually feel like this is this whole world sort of energy or message that's coming up, and it comes with the Witch card. November does look like there's going to be something that is either revealed about the education system, or there's some big change that happens to the education system. It does look like something is happening on the wider world stage with one of our leaders. Maybe a prominent figure comes forward. Maybe one of them is sanctioned, maybe one of them is arrested, maybe one of them is I don't know. It just looks like something is happening on the wider world stage. And I have to be honest with you, throughout all of the readings, it felt like it's a prominent figure, or maybe a set of prominent figures, and I feel like everybody is kind of like just a little bit stunned by whatever it is. I mean, it doesn't have to be. Maybe somebody comes out, maybe like a really prominent figure turns around and says, oh, by the way, all of this time I've been hiding that I'm gay, or maybe I'm a lesbian, or any of those things. It could be something like that, but I do feel like it's going to be, it's not really a massive event, is it? So yeah, to put it into context, it does feel like it might be bigger than that, if I'm honest, but it does feel like it's going to be a real prominent figure, because the Witch in this deck is actually the Rider-Waite deck is the Magician. So it's going to be somebody that's up there, somebody that's very much in the public eye. And then finally, December, we have the Empress, right? So this is great. Your year starts on a high and it ends on a high, right? On a personal level, November looks like you are, again, not only signing a contract, but it looks like in some way you are either writing a book, or you are launched out into the public eye yourself in some way. It looks like you're signing a big contract. October and November, you're definitely signing on the dotted line for something, which is really intriguing. But yeah, December looks like a great month for you. Financially, December is actually a good month for you as well. And it comes with the High Priest, right? And the High Priest is right underneath the Hierophant there. So you've got a double hit of that Hierophant energy, which is really interesting. And this looks like whatever you're signing in October and November, whatever it is that you're choosing to build or create, it culminates in December, and that is when you will see it literally in the tangible physical world, which is really nice. The other thing is as well, it looks like you're connecting with a really powerful or prominent woman. December could introduce you to a really powerful or prominent woman that helps you when it comes to your finances, when it comes to your business. And for a lot of you, there is a big commitment that's being made with or around a woman. So something about your professional life is really kicking off in December. Now, a lot of people will probably think like, oh, it's Christmas or whatever, but yeah, maybe so, but that doesn't stop the world running, does it? Everybody's on a different journey, so take it. And then finally, your key to the year, the message that 2021 has for you, you've got the World card. This could be a year where you really do rise to prominence, and it's going to be because of who you are as a person. It's going to be because of the obstacles that you faced. This is a year for you to discover, not even discover, this is a year for you to share your story with people, to let them know who you are, what you're about. This is the line that actually comes to mind as I see the World card for you, because you're not the only life path to have got this card, is, you know, open up and let the world take a good look at you. All right, which is really, really exciting. So, and not necessarily that many challenges this year, to be honest. There's a few months, well, not even a few, there's like one or two that look like there could be a bit of a challenge for you. July and June look like they'll probably be the shakiest months for you. April might not be a barrel of laughs either, to be honest, but the other months here look like they offer some really, really great stuff. 2021 is going to be a good year for you guys. With that said, let me know in the comments how it shapes up. Take care, and I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Take care, and I'll see you soon.